Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our live Q&A. This one is for apprenticeships, and I've got a couple of our apprenticeships team here to talk to you today. So please do ask any questions in the Q&A box. And without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Liz.
Good morning. My name's Liz Miller, and I'm the Student Opportunities Coordinator in the apprenticeship team. And I work with young people trying to help them into an apprenticeship and advise. Debbie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Debbie Perkins. I'm the Senior Apprenticeship Advisor. So I head up a team of apprenticeship advisors who are all the time talking to employers about obviously the benefits of taking an apprentice and sorting everything out there. And then obviously we also have Liz in our team who helps us match up young people to these vacancies. So yeah, that's basically what we do. So have we got a first question, Meg?
We haven't got any yet, so do you want to just start off
so
by introducing what apprenticeships are?
Yeah,
sure. I don't mind. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, do you want to start it off, Liz, with a bit about apprenticeships?
Yeah, so I don't know how much anybody knows about apprenticeships, but apprenticeships are really like a full-time job with training. So you typically spend 80% of your time out with the employer and 20% of your time with us. You get a mentor. You're not expected to know anything before you go in. You get a mentor out in the workplace who helps you. You get a nationally recognised qualification as part of your studies with us. At the moment, the wage is £4.15 an hour, the apprenticeship wage, but employers can pay what they like, so they could pay a lot more than that, and quite a few do pay considerably more than that. Apprenticeships are at all different levels. You can go on one at any age. You can start at 16. It does count as education, but you can go on one at any age. So they are, as I say, at all different levels. You can go right up, they have degree level apprenticeships, and we've got apprenticeships in all different types of work. I'd advise that you perhaps look on the apprenticeship presentation that is on this morning on the virtual open day. That tells you all the different apprenticeships that we offer, but it's a really wide range, all the construction trades, engineering, land-based ones, hairdressing, administration, all sorts. But do take a look on the presentation and that will tell you about that. Apprenticeships last anything from 12 months to 4 years. It depends on the level of the apprenticeship. And they basically, it's often suited to young people who want to get out into the work environment and people who like to do more of a hands-on approach. But you do get those qualifications as well. So I don't know, do you want to talk, Debbie, about how you'd go about getting an apprenticeship or?
Yeah, so with regard to an apprenticeship, so there's a couple of ways you can do it. If you've not already had a look at that, look at the National Apprenticeship Service website, because again, that gives you lots of information about the whole host of apprenticeships, be it, you know, even the ones that we don't offer here at SMB Group. But so you can get lots of information there, but you can also have a look at the vacancies. So every day employers are posting vacancies on there, so you can have a look, you can put your postcode in, put like a radius of how far you're willing to travel. So basically you can then have a look at what's available. So you can either put, so if you know you definitely want engineering, you can put engineering in as a keyword, or if you just want to know what is available out there, you can just leave it as all and have a look at the different vacancies. So that's a good way to have a look at what employers are already offering. The other way is to use family, friends, or even just send your CV out to any local companies that you think you might want to work for, and just say that you're looking for an apprenticeship, and would they be willing to give you an opportunity. So sometimes you know they may give you, say, a couple of days or a week's work experience, and that might lead to an apprenticeship. Employers really love it when people show initiative and say that they want to work for their company. Doesn't always work, but we have had a number each year come back to us and have done that, and have come back and like, I found my employer, can we sort the training out now? So so they're sort of the two main ways that you can obviously find an apprenticeship. If you there's an email address that we'll give you at some point during this session, and I think it's certainly on our the presentation we've got this morning. So if you are interested, if you want to register your details on there, that's apprenticeships@smbgroup.ac.uk. So if you register your details on there, again, we will be in touch in the new year, and obviously help, start to work with you to try and help you secure a vacancy.
Okay, Sean.
Yeah, anything back to you?
Had a question.
We've got a question.
We
I think there
have,
was
yeah.
a question come up.
So someone said, I'm interested in the forestry apprenticeship. Do you have companies that you could help me find an apprenticeship with?
Shall I take that one, Liz?
Yeah.
I think, again, obviously, we do have over at our Brooksby campus, they work with employers all over the sort of Leicestershire and beyond. So they are working with people at the minute. I don't know if we've obviously got anything specific currently, but yeah, if you want to register your details with us, then we do have people that we can speak to, or we can obviously give you some links to perhaps email yourself. So that's the whole point of us obviously trying, getting your details so that we can try to work with you to help you get there as soon as possible, really.
Lovely, thank you for that. So I'm going to put the email address in the chat. So if you are interested in apprenticeships, you can get in touch with the team, and they'll be in touch in the future. As Debbie mentioned before, about sort of apprenticeship events and stuff like that. We haven't got any more questions currently, but
shall I just talk about again about finding an apprenticeship? Just a few pointers. Yeah, just one thing I'd like to say is finding an apprenticeship is like finding a job. There's no guarantee one will be sitting there for you after you leave school, unless you do have your own employer that you come to us with. So there are certain things that you can do really to help yourself. And also what is very important is do make sure that you have a plan B. Make sure that you've got something to go to in September, so that you're not left with nothing, after you leave school. So one thing you can do is apply to a college course. For example, if you want to be a plumber, apply for a plumbing diploma with us. If you want to be a hairdresser, apply for a hairdressing course. Then you've got a course to go to. Employers do like it when people have been on the course first. You can imagine if an employer is taking somebody as a plumber and they've got a few plumbing skills, it's going to be very helpful. Going on a full-time course increases your chances of getting an apprenticeship, and it also gives you something concrete to do after you leave school. If you come on a course with us at any of our campus, you can still be looking for an apprenticeship. You don't have to stay the full year on the course. You can start on the course if an apprenticeship comes up, say in September, October, whatever. You can keep applying for apprenticeships and keep being considered for them, because apprenticeships are largely a rolling programme. Recruitment goes on throughout the year, whereas full-time courses only start in the academic year in September. We have this year already had a few young people who've started with us on courses, and apprenticeships have come up with us, and we've told them about the apprenticeships and they've transferred over. We're always looking to progress you to the next best level. So do make a note of that. Do make sure to put in for a course in the type of work that you are looking for. The other thing that you will really need for an apprentice, you do need to work on your English and maths. Most apprenticeships have an eligibility criteria. There is, you do have to have a certain level of English and maths. And the reason why it's English and maths is we have to make sure that you are able to do the work that we give you. So there will be an entrance criteria, and it will be based on your English and maths. So if you are a school leaver listening now, do take our advice and work really hard on your English and maths and try your best to get that magic 4. We can sometimes some apprenticeships allow you on below that, but if you can work hard on your English and maths, that will really help you. It will help you anyway. That's what employers like, but certainly for an apprenticeship. So work hard on those. The other thing is you will need a CV. You've probably had your teachers talking to you about a CV, which is basically like a little advert for you. But in order to apply for an apprenticeship, what we do is, what for all apprenticeship providers, we will send employers CVs, and they will look at these and they will decide who they want to interview from those. Because as we say, it's like a job process, it's like a job application process. So even at school now, start putting together a basic CV. I'm sure your teachers will be helping you with that. And then you're ready to go when you leave school. And the other thing I would say about the National Apprenticeship website is perhaps have a look on it pretty soon, because although most of the apprenticeships that you'll be interested in will be just before you leave school, in the month or so before, because often employers advertise on the National Apprenticeship website, they want somebody probably fairly soon, but some of the bigger employers will start advertising even before Christmas. Some of the engineering ones last year were on in November for a September start the following year. And some of the big construction companies will start recruiting for apprentices certainly in the new year. So register as soon as you want. Most of them you won't be able to apply for till after you leave school or just before you leave school, but keep your eye on it. And it's also just interesting to see what sort of apprenticeships there are out there and what sort of levels there are. Okay, so I better stop then and see if there's any questions. Is there any?
Yeah, we've had one. Someone said, what qualifications do you need to get onto a level 3 apprenticeship?
Do you want to take that, Debbie?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, so as Liz was saying, English and maths are sort of a vital element of all apprenticeships, and certainly if you're wanting to do a level 3 apprenticeship, then the entry requirement is usually that you have already got your GCSE grade 4 or above. It is sometimes possible for you to go on and complete your English and maths during the apprenticeship, but because I mean a level 3 apprenticeship is equivalent to doing A levels, so you are going to need to have a certain standard of English and maths, and that's why we say if you can get your grade 4 English and maths in your GCSEs whilst you're at school, that will open so many more doors for you. Again, depending on the industry that you're going into for a level 3 apprenticeship, it might be, sometimes it can be useful to have already have the level 2, perhaps diploma from college. A lot of times you can go straight in at a level 3, but from an employer's point of view, if you have obviously studied a course and got a little bit of an idea about it, then that might again might make you a little bit more attractive. But English and maths are definite, so definitely, as I say, work as hard as you can to get the best possible grade you can get on those, and then obviously depending on the industry, depends on and obviously the employer, then sometimes it's useful to have a level 2 in that subject area or something a little bit similar. So for instance, if say you like putting things together, but you're not quite sure what you want to do, then going on like an engineering course, a level 2 engineering course, can open all sorts of doors, because engineering is just a vast industry. So you might go down the motor vehicle side, you might go electrical engineering, more mechanical, maintenance, there's all sorts of an engineering. So as I say, if you sort of a little bit more practical minded but don't really know what career you want to do as yet, then that's something, you know, to consider as well when you're taking applying for a course. Did I see another question pop up there, Meg?
Yeah, so someone's asked, what are the benefits of an apprenticeship compared to a college course? So maybe we could talk about what benefits apprenticeships give you.
Okay. Do you want me to carry on, Liz, or?
Don't mind.
Yeah. Well, I'll start and then you can chip in if I've missed anything. So the biggest benefit of an apprenticeship is obviously you're getting paid. So obviously how it works is you work for an employer, as we've said, you've got a mentor in your place of work. So you are doing a day job, but you're also obviously learning all valuable skills as well as attending college. So usually you would come to college one day a week, or it might be a block release 1 week every so often to learn those skills. but the beauty is you're being paid. So regardless of whether you're in work or in college, your employer is paying you. The other benefit is your work experience. So not only are you learning the theory, which obviously you would do on a college course, but you are also getting valuable hands-on experience. You're learning from people who are in the industry at the moment, and obviously widening your scope there. So that's obviously the two big main benefits, I think. Do you want to expand on that, Liz?
Yeah, I think one of the big benefits as well is that hopefully you're going to get a job out of it. The majority of young people who go on apprenticeships, employers don't have to keep you on at the end of an apprenticeship, but most of them do because they've invested a lot of time and money in you. So hopefully it is a way into permanent employment, and then hopefully to be able to progress with that employer further. So, you know, it is a good way into employment. But one other thing I would say, if you're thinking an apprenticeship or a college course, you know, it is possible, as I said before, to go on a college course first. You don't have to rush onto an apprenticeship when you're 16. Bear in mind, you can go on one at any age. So you could do a course first, get some experience. And some people feel a little bit happier if they've got a bit more confidence in the area they're going into. So you can go on a course first and then go on an apprenticeship afterwards. And like I said before, they often people who want to get out and work practically, they do suit people like that. So yeah, does that answer the question, do you think?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Sorry, I've muted myself, but I think it does. Yeah. We haven't actually got any questions, but if anyone does have any, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll get around to them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking maybe we could talk.
There's just a couple of things that
cool.
I thought about. One thing with regard to work experience, if you can get yourself any period of work experience, that really does help. If you've got a Saturday job or anything, you know, sometimes that can turn into an apprenticeship. For example, say if you had a Saturday job at a hairdresser's and that employer noticed that you were a good worker, then you could then go to them and ask if they would consider you as an apprentice, and we could talk to the company and perhaps try and set up an apprenticeship around you. And also it is good on your CV to have some sort of work record. So any sort of work experience that you can get, that really does help. And as I think Debbie was saying before, it does pay to talk to family and friends. You know, if you have anybody who works, say if you want to get into construction and you know people who work in the construction industry, just talk to them and see if there's any companies that they know that are recruiting, or if they own a company, would they take you? If you do find anybody who would take you as an apprentice, get back to us on that website that's on the screen, apprenticeships@smbgroup.ac.uk. And we can, if you want us to, talk to the company, advise them about how to take you as an apprentice, and give them all the information that they'll need. So it really is worth doing that. In fact, on that website, if you are interested at all in getting an apprenticeship, contact us on that website. Leave us your name, your email, your phone number, and we can get back to you and we can talk to you about your individual situation and give you individual advice. And as Debbie said, we are hoping to have an event when perhaps it might be around half term now, in the new year, when we can, hopefully we might be able to bring people into college then and give them more information about apprenticeships. But if you've got any questions or any interest in apprenticeships, then do get back to us on that email. My experience, and I've been working in apprenticeships for quite a few years now, the people who get them are the people who are really on it. They're the people who are looking on the National Apprenticeship website, they're making inquiries, they're getting themselves some work experience, because they are competitive. You know, you don't just walk into an apprenticeship, you have to, you know, you really have to work at finding one. So those are the tips that Debbie and I have given you today, to go ahead and really try and find an apprenticeship. And apprenticeships are great. There are some really great opportunities out there. So yeah, if you use those tips, it might be a bit of help. Any more questions?
Yes. So we've had someone ask if English and math is below a grade 3. So if they achieve below a grade 3, can they still take an apprenticeship and retake the English and math alongside it?
You want to go for that, Debbie?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah. So if you are below or you don't quite get your grades, then basically what we will do as part of the apprenticeship application process is we will put you through an initial assessment. So we will ask you to sit an assessment of your English and maths, because obviously at the moment you don't know what your grades are going to be next summer. So we will do an assessment, and based on that and based on what you're predicted to get, we will obviously have a conversation with you. It is possible sometimes to go on to an apprenticeship and to study English and maths as part of your apprenticeship. And very often what you will do is you will do what's called a functional skill. So rather than retake your GCSE, you'll do a functional skill in your English and maths and get you to the level that you need to. So that is possible. If that's certainly for a level 2 apprenticeship, we can usually work with you and retake that. For a level 3 apprenticeship, as I say, because it is equivalent to A levels and the work involved is more theoretical in a lot of instances, so less practical, more theory, then it's more difficult, but it's not impossible. As Liz has said, the best thing to do is start talking to us, give us your contact details, we'll get in touch, we'll start talking to you, and we can obviously talk about your individual circumstances and see what there is there. If anybody obviously needs additional learning support or anything like that, if they're getting that at school at the moment, that's something that can carry forward into an apprenticeship as well. So we will support you wherever possible, but we also obviously have to be realistic as to what is achievable. But yeah, it's not impossible. We can do that, and everybody's looked at on an individual basis, basically.
Lovely, thank you. I think maybe could we mention sort of what effect the recent situations had on apprenticeships, sort of with COVID, and if you see that sort of affecting it in the future.
Yeah, shall I do that?
Yeah.
I have to. Am I live now? Yeah. We have seen over the past few months, apprenticeships have been affected by the pandemic. Obviously, we had a long period where a lot of companies were closed and they couldn't recruit. And unfortunately, a few apprenticeships were made redundant because of the situation. So it has been difficult. We are now seeing a little bit of a turnaround. We're starting to get more vacancies in. There are certain subsidies that the government have given to help that happen. And we're really hoping that over the next year, and certainly by the time school leavers come out next year, that we will certainly be on the upturn again. As I say, we're certainly seeing an improvement now. So we just have to bear in mind that they have been knocked a bit, and of course nobody knows what's going to happen over the next few months. But I think just bear in mind that apprenticeships are competitive, and they've probably got a little bit more competitive recently because of the number out there, because of the pandemic situation. So yes, I can't say it's not been affected, but we're ever hopeful that as we get through this and get out of this situation, that they will return, because employers do. It's a very good way for employers to train somebody to have an apprentice, and employers have to refresh their workforce. So they will be coming back to us, and hopefully, as I say, by next summer, we'll be in a much better situation.
Yeah, and I suppose that's a good argument for having that backup, maybe applying for a full-time course as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you've always got something to go to. And
I can't stress, I really have to stress, it is a really good idea to make sure you have a backup. Your backup might be that you're staying at school for A levels, or but obviously if you know what you want to do, if you know you want to be a carpenter, then the best thing is to try and get some experience in that area. And the best way to do that is to come on to a diploma course at college. As I said before, you can imagine that employers do look on that very favourably. Also, often employers they like it perhaps when somebody are a little bit older. If you're about 17, if you're working certainly in the construction industry, if you're a bit older and you've got a few skills, and perhaps if you've got a driving licence as well, obviously which you can't get till you're 17, it's all helping you towards an apprenticeship. Like we've both said, don't think you've got to leave school and rush straight onto an apprenticeship. You can build up towards that. Okay. Anything else?
Lovely. No, we haven't had any more questions yet, but
one other thing I'd just say is that some people have asked me in the past, what sort of companies can you do an apprenticeship in? Is it just large multinational companies? And no, that isn't the case. We deal with a lot of large multinational companies. We deal with companies like Barrett's and Renault, and we train across the board for them. But we also deal with really small companies. Sometimes it might be just a couple of people in the company. As long as they're a good, legitimate company who can give you a good training, we will deal with them. And some people will love to be in a big company with lots of people. Some people find that it suits them better to be in a smaller one where they might get more intense one-to-one training. So there's a whole host of different size companies and different types of apprenticeship out there. Okay, is there?
Sorry, I muted myself there. We have had one more question. Someone said, when can you apply if you want to start a course or apprenticeship in September? I'll just take the course one quickly because I work in the admissions team for the full-time courses. We are accepting applications currently, so I'll pop the link into the chat and you can go and have a look at our online application form. And I'll hand you back to Liz for the apprenticeship side of things.
What I would, as we've said before, is an apprenticeship is like going after a job. So you look on the National Apprenticeship website, and well, as I've said, a lot of them on there will not be current. They'll want somebody quite soon, so it's best to look just before you leave school. But there might be some of the bigger employers advertising earlier. But generally, what I would say is if you're interested in apprenticeship, make yourself known to us on apprenticeships@smbgroup.ac.uk, and we can keep your details and we can consider you for apprenticeships that come into us. So you can contact us as soon as you want, anytime as of now. Make yourself known to us, and as I say, we will get in touch. Is there anything you want to add to that, Debbie, or is that?
No, as I say, I think it is just obviously let us know that you're looking, and we can obviously start to work with you and hopefully give you some advice. And yeah, as you say, get your application in for your full-time course so that at least you've got that sorted, and then you can carry on looking. You know, and if you don't need your full-time course, brilliant. But if not, obviously it's there waiting for you.
Lovely, thank you. We've only got a couple of minutes left, so we're sort of coming to the end of this now. So we'll just sort of wrap up, and if you have any second questions, pop them in the chat. But if not, as Liz and Debbie have both mentioned, you can email the apprenticeships team at apprenticeships@smbgroup.ac.uk, and I've popped that in the chat a few times so you can find the email address in there. You can also visit our apprenticeships page for the open day today. There's a link to that. And that's got lots more information in there that you can sort of look at your leisure as well. Oh, we have had one more question. Someone said, could college attendance be affected by COVID? So potentially, obviously we're just sort of working with things as we can at the moment. So as government guidelines change, we will react to that in real time, basically. So sort of last year we did have to have some college teaching from home, so we're well equipped to deal with that, and we obviously do as much of our practical classes on site as possible, but even now we're doing a little bit of remote learning here and there for our students, and a lot of them are getting on with it really well. But yeah, it just remains to be seen really with regards to what the government guidance is going forward and how the situation changes. So I will hand you back to you, Liz and Debbie, just to say goodbye, because we'll have to sign off, unfortunately. But thank you very much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for your time this morning. And yeah, if you've got any questions or need any help at all, then obviously drop us an email and we'll be in touch. So thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.